In this video we strive to show the correlation now recognized by scientists with God's Genesis. Please watch the full video to learn why this has come about.
Hello my fellow YouTubers. I have toyed with my thoughts of the creation of the earth in my time, looking at evolution creation, to the creation by God. As a young man studying in the field of science, I cast out any belief that God had played a part in Earth's creation and the beginning of man. However, as I matured, I asked myself questions that could not be answered without the presence of God. The first concept that boggled my mind when I truly thought about it, is that there is no end to space. Then I started thinking further. Where did space come from or originate? There are billions and billions of galaxies, solar systems, stars, planets, and other debris and phenomena in space. How is it then that we are the only life to exist in such a vast area as space? This then led to me thinking of the origin of life. How can it be that if life originated by chance, that every living animal on Earth has a male and female counterpart that physically works perfectly to be able to propagate, and that all plants, microorganisms, and viruses have the ability to reproduce or replicate? As a former scientist, I cannot believe that all of this can happen by chance, or random selection. Whether you believe in God or not is your election. However, I once read a concept that has stuck with me for years. It goes like this. It is better to believe in God and find out He does not exist, than to not believe in God and find out He does exist. As a result, I turned back to the first chapter of the Bible in the Old Testament called Genesis, a depiction of how God created the earth and all living things. I am not going to read Genesis verbatim, however, I will look at the segments and tell you my thoughts. Please remember, they are only what I believes. By no means am I trying to sway anybody in their way of thinking or belief in faith. What I am saying is, this all could not have happened without God. Genesis reads, "In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was waste and void, and darkness covered the abyss, and the Spirit of God was stirring above the waters. And God said, Let there be light, and there was light. And God divided the light from the darkness." Scientists believe today that the Sun formed approximately 4.60 billion years ago, and that the Earth formed 4.54 billion years ago. These approximations are so close, and with a margin of error, can be said to have been formed around the same time. Is this the light God provided to the Earth? And is the rotation of the Earth around the Sun the cause for the light to be separated from darkness as day and night? How uncanny is it that Moses, who is believed to be the author of Genesis around 1440 BC, would have known this scientific information? And God made the sky, and divided the waters which were under the sky from the waters which were above the sky, and it was so. And God called the sky heaven. And God said, Let the waters under the heaven be gathered together to one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters He called seas. From a scientific view, when the earth first came together, it was a mass of molten liquid and poisonous gases. As it began to cool, the gases condensed into liquid form, and in conjunction with evaporation, water began to form in the sky and on the surface of the earth. The moisture in the sky eventually fell back upon the earth, creating the seas, and cooling the surface further. With decreasing temperatures, the liquefied rock became solid earth. It amazes me, and I am baffled of how Moses would have known these exact sequences of events for the creation of the sky, seas and land unless it was told to him through God. And God said, Let the earth bring forth vegetation, plants yielding seed, and fruit trees yielding fruit whose seed is in itself, each according to its kind, upon the earth. And it was so. And God said, let there be lights in the sky of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be signs, and for seasons, and for days and years. And God made 2 great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He also made the stars. The moon is estimated to be 4.53 billion years old. Recall the ages of the sun and earth. All 3 planetary bodies were created by God, around the same time. Their heavenly bodies would have only made their presence once Earth's atmosphere was clear of the immense gases and condensation. And God said, "Let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that has life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open sky of heaven." And God blessed them, saying, "Be fruitful, and multiply, and fill the waters in the seas, and let fowl multiply in the earth." And God said, "Let the earth bring forth living creatures according to their kind, livestock, creeping things, and wild beasts of the earth." And God said, "Let us, Father, Son and Holy Spirit, make mankind in our image, after our likeness, and have complete authority over every living creature on earth." It is unfathomable to believe that all life originated from Earth's environmental gases and liquids, and each species evolved into its male and female counterpart as we witness today. There are 1,589,361 species of plants and animals on Earth, each unique in its own way. Yes, changes can occur, but a higher being needed to create the organism and make the change. As the famous statistician George Gallup stated, "I could prove God statistically. Take the human body alone. The chance that all the functions of the individual would just happen, is a statistical monstrosity." Charles Darwin, the famous evolutionist, stated, "To suppose that just the eye could have been formed by natural selection, seems, I freely confess, absurd in the highest degree." The best summation is by the great theoretical physicist Albert Einstein, who sought to know how God created the world. Many stated he was an atheist, but he clearly refuted such claims. He said, "In the view of such harmony in the cosmos which I, with my limited human mind, am able to recognize, there are yet people who say there is no God. But what makes me really angry, is that they quote me for support of such views. We know nothing about God and the world at all. All our knowledge is but the knowledge of school children. Possibly we shall know a little more than we do now. But the real nature of things, we shall never know, never. The human mind is unable to conceive of the 4 dimensions, so how can it conceive of a God, before whom 1,000 years and 1,000 dimensions are as one?"